Okay, Premier League predictions in less than 7 minutes. We're going to go from 20 to first, and in 20th place, I'm predicting that Sheffield United are going to finish there. The reason being, I just think that even Sheffield United fans are a little bit worried about this season. They don't feel like they've signed enough good quality players, and it's obviously hard coming up anyway, but it's always a bit of a lottery with promoted sides because sometimes they do really well. Like last season, all 3 stayed up, but maybe not this season, and I just can't see Sheffield United. That leads me on to 19th place, and I'm going to go for Luton Town. Similar reasons, really. They came up via the playoffs. I almost feel like Luton weren't quite ready to come up, although it's an amazing achievement that they did, and I actually do wish them really well this season. I hope that they do all right, but I can't, in good faith, predict that they'll do anything other than get relegated at the first attempt. We'll see at the end of the season if I'm right or wrong, but I'm predicting Luton in 19th. 18th place, and I'm going to go for Wolverhampton Wanderers here. Now, there's always one team at the start of every single season who just seem doomed before a ball is even kicked. Wolves seem like that team to me this season. Who knows what will happen? This is just an early prediction before the season kicks off. But Wolves, they've just lost their manager. They've brought in Gary O'Neill, which is fine. A good replacement. He did a good job at Bournemouth. But that club seems like a mess. They've also lost some really good players over the last few months. I don't know. They just seem in a bit of disarray, really. So they're up against it. So I'm predicting 18th for Wolves. Okay, in 17th place, I've got West Ham. Similar reasons to Wolves in a sense. They're not quite in as much turmoil, but they have lost Declan Rice. It looks like they're going to lose Paquetá as well to Man City, and that kind of leaves me massively worried for West Ham because they also were in a relegation fight last season. Yes, they won the Europa Conference. Well done to them. Excellent. Have they got the quality in that squad? I don't see it. I think they're going to be in a relegation battle all season. They'll probably just survive though, and that's why I've got them 17th. Above them in 16th is a team who have struggled for the last couple of seasons as well, really, and that's Everton. I think they're going to be in another relegation fight, Everton. I think they'll survive it again. I think they've probably got enough in them, and I think Sean Dyche will do enough to keep them up. I just can't see where they're going to suddenly jump up the league, basically. I think they're kind of just going to be in that zone again for another season. I think they'll survive again. So yeah, 15th, I think Nottingham Forest are going to finish in 15th. Forest did amazingly well last season. Their primary objective was just to stay up, and they did it. They brought in so many players last season, and Cooper managed to find a way of gelling them and getting enough points to survive. This season they can build on that a little bit and be a bit more comfortable, but I still think that they'll finish in 15th. 14th, I've got Palace. Palace have been in the Premier League for 11 seasons, and they always finish generally between 11th and 14th. I think that last season was tough for them, but they did finish, I think it was 12th last season. I'm going to predict them 14th this season just because I think they're probably going to be a little bit worse than last season, but not too bad. They'll be fine. 14th for Palace. 13th, I've got Bournemouth. Again, just build on last season, really. They've got an exciting new head coach who I think could do a decent job for them and build on what happened to them last season. So I think Bournemouth will be fine, just kind of there or thereabouts. 12th, I've got Burnley. Obviously, Vincent Kompany did an amazing job getting them promoted last season. They ran away with the championship. That doesn't always equate to a great season the next season, but I think Burnley will do all right. Fulham in 11th, completing the bottom half of the table. So I think Fulham are a good team. I think that they'll slip a little bit from last season just because the top half of the Premier League is looking so competitive next season. But yeah, decent season again for Fulham, I predict, but 11th place finish. In 10th, I've got Brentford. Again, I think they'll slip a bit from last season. They've done amazingly well. Hats off to them. They ran really well. Obviously, Ivan Toney out's a big deal for them. So I think they'll drop off a little bit, especially when you look at some of the other clubs who will rise a little bit further as well. 9th, I've put Brighton. To be honest, the top 9 is so hard to predict next season. I really struggle to put this in any kind of order, and I feel like Brighton in 9th almost feels too low, if I'm honest. I kind of hope they prove me wrong because I quite like Brighton, but I'm going to put them in 9th. Chelsea I'm putting 8th because although they've spent a lot of money and they've got Pochettino in, who's a good manager, I just think, can he make all those players gel? I don't know about Chelsea yet. I think I need to see them to understand what they are or what they're about. So I'm going to put Chelsea in 8th. Spurs in 7th. It looks like Kane's going to go to Bayern Munich, and I think that although they've brought a good manager in, who I actually think will be good for them, if they lose Kane, it's so huge for them to lose him. So I'm putting them in 7th at this point. Villa I'm going to put in 6th place because I think Unai Emery's doing a great job there. Summer signings have been fantastic, and I think they're a real team to watch this season. They could really disrupt the top 4. Maybe that's a bit harsh on Villa, I don't know. I've put Newcastle in 5th, my team. I really want Newcastle to finish in the top 4, but I am aware that it's just very, very competitive this season, and I think that 5th for Newcastle would be good in terms of, like, they've still got Champions League football, and that's going to cause a lot of extra strain on the squad, basically. I think they'll cope with it. But yeah, I think top four might be just a step beyond. Fifth is probably where I think Newcastle are going to finish. In fourth, I put Man United. I think Man United will, again, be pretty consistent. Fans probably won't be happy with fourth, but because they'll be expecting them to push on after finishing third last season and then winning a cup as well, so they'll be wanting more than that. I think they'll finish in fourth place. I've put Liverpool in third. Liverpool obviously didn't have a great season last season. Their midfield was a massive issue. It looks like they've solved that with the signings they've brought in, so their midfield should be stronger. The question mark now is whether their defence is really the issue, and that's maybe what will keep them from being a title contender, in my opinion. And that leads us to who I think will be the champions and who I think will finish second. I think we'll have the same top two as last season, and basically I am going for the same order, because Arsenal in second, Man City first, because ultimately, although Arsenal have strengthened with Rice and other players, that's, you know, they are going to be amazing, I think, this season, Arsenal, and they could win the league. This is just a prediction, but I think it's hard to bet against Man City because they just won the treble, and I don't know, until I see otherwise, I feel like it's hard to pick someone else until I see Man City drop off in some way, because I just don't see them dropping off in the league. I don't think they'll win the Champions League again, but I do think they'll win the Premier League again. They're my predictions. Let me know in the comments below what you think. And yeah, just let me know. Do you agree? Do you disagree? I'm sure some of you will disagree with what I said and you won't be happy with what I've said for your team, but that's what I've gone with. So let me know in the comments below what you think, and I'll be really interested to find out.